Many institutional investors hold securities in their portfolios that they do not intend to sell quickly. The investors can generate additional revenues by lending out their securities. In a securities lending transaction, the owner of a position in securities agrees to lend it to another entity that wishes to borrow. The securities borrower receives title to the securities. In return, the securities borrower puts up collateral, which can be cash or non-cash, with the security lender. The security lender receives interest on the collateral. The security borrower agrees to pay a fee to the securities lender. Should any revenue be generated by the security, such as dividends or interest, the securities borrower agrees that it will pay an equivalent amount to the securities lender. Further, the securities borrower agrees to return the security to the securities lender at a future point in time, which may be a fixed term or may be open until either the securities lender or securities borrower cancels the securities loan. Because the securities borrower receives title to the security, it can sell the security. A securities borrower that sells the borrowed security to a third party has taken a short position in the security. Despite selling the security, any revenue generated by the security requires the securities borrower to pay an equivalent amount to the securities lender. At a future point in time, the securities borrower repurchases the security on the market and return it back to the securities lender, at which time it receives back its collateral. Borrowing securities does not sound like a good deal for the borrower, given the cost of borrowing and the dividends and coupon a borrower must pay to the lender. Why then would anyone borrow securities? The answer is that the borrower is a short seller who believes they can profit from selling the borrowed shares and buying them back later at lower price before returning them to the lender. Let's use an example to understand why a long position benefits from an increase in security price while a short position benefits from a decrease. With a long position, an investor acquires a security, such as a stock, and sells it at a future point in time. If the stock price increases, the investor earns a profit equal to the differences between the sales price at the termination of the trade and the initial purchase price, plus any revenue generated by the security during the holding period. Hence, the long position benefits from an increase in the security price. For example, an investor purchases a stock for $50, receives a $1 dividend during the holding period, and sells it for $55. The investor has earned a profit of 55 plus 1 minus 50, which is $6. What about short position? With a short position, the investor sells the security at initiation and repurchases the security at a future point in time. The short position earns a profit equal to the differences between the sales price at the initiation of the trade and the purchase price at the termination of the trade, plus any interest earned on the collateral, less any revenue generated by the security and fees it pays for securities borrowing. Hence, the short position benefits from a decrease in the security price. For example, a securities borrower borrows a stock and sells it for $50. The stock pays a $1 dividend, hence the securities borrower is required to pay $1 to the securities lender. The securities borrower eventually repurchases the stock for $45 and returns it to the security lender. Assuming the interest on the collateral and the securities lending fee offset each other, the securities borrower has earned a profit of $50 minus 1 minus 45, which is $4. So let's summarize everything. Long positions or going long are how we usually think of investing. Taking a long position simply means buying and owning securities such as stocks and bonds in the expectation of generating a return through a combination of price appreciation and income. So, for example, interest or dividends. A long position has unlimited upside with limited downside as long as it is not leveraged. The most that can be lost is 100% if a security goes to zero. A short position is the other side of this. The short seller believes the security they are borrowing will decline by an amount greater than the cost of borrowing plus any dividends or interest that they must pay to the lender. A short position has a notable unfavorable payoff structure versus a long position, with limited upside at 100% if a stock goes to zero, but unlimited downside as there is no limit to how much security can rise in value. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next session.